All right, John. John, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I grew up in San Pedro, California.
Tell me about your family.
Uh, my parents were married until I was 5 years old. They're one is hard right wing, the other one is hard left wing, but they share a love of arguing. So I grew up with that,
Right.
and it was perfect for that. But they divorced when I was five, and my older sister and my younger brother and I used to. We got along great for the most part, but we used to brawl all the time, get in these huge fights. But it was the kind of dynamic where, if anybody else messed with us, then
You team up.
we're not gonna we're not gonna have it.
Yeah.
So I think it was I had loving parents and loving grandparents for as much as they knew how to do.
How far did you go in school?
Just before passing high school, and then I took the GED later.
And drugs came into your life at some point?
Yes, when I was actually my stepbrother, my mom and my stepdad met because me and my stepbrother were best friends in kindergarten. He's my age. He died last year of a fentanyl overdose, actually.
I'm sorry.
And I forget where I was going with this. I'm sorry. I guess. I'm sorry. Could you repeat the
I was
question?
asking, like, how drugs came into your life.
Oh yeah. So my friends and I, he and my friend Frank and I would experiment a little bit. We'd smoke weed or drink alcohol, and I still remember the first time I took a drink and I felt that warm feeling in my stomach, and I had all this confidence with girls, and I just felt like everything was all right. And it blew my mind that something you could buy off a shelf would have that effect,
And you stuck with it.
Yeah, I decided that that's how I wanted to live my life.
So today you're using which drug?
Fentanyl.
Fentanyl. Where do you stay?
On the streets right now. I'm about to go into a mission, I think. I've been on and off opioids for about 11 years.
You've been homeless for how long?
About a year and a half. In and out of jail. And so, yeah, a girl introduced me to opioids, which I was never really going to have in my life. I can't blame it on her, but I kept saying, "Get it out of my house. I don't want drugs in my house," even though I was smoking weed and drinking all day. And so one day I tried it out, and I thought, this stuff doesn't really do that much. It just kind of makes you feel good. I don't see where the stigma is. And so I kept doing it, and about 2 weeks later I ran out, and I had what seemed to be the worst flu of my life. I was shivering, I was freezing cold, I was throwing up everywhere. I couldn't move, but I couldn't not move. It was horrifying. And so for 5 or 6 days, I didn't sleep when I came off that first time. And yeah, that was my first kick. And a lot of people have told me that, well, if the kick is so bad, why do you keep going back to it? And it's like, well, because, quite frankly, it's the way you want to feel when you're living life, I believe. When I was younger, I asked a friend of mine who had tried heroin what it was like. And the answer he told me was perfect. He said, when you have to wake up really early in the morning and it's freezing cold and it's dark out and the floor is cold and you just don't want to get out of bed, he says, you know how your bed feels? He says, that's what heroin feels like. And that's actually the perfect comparison, I think.
You're aware of how it's, I guess you would credit the drug as kind of taking your life apart, though?
Absolutely. And it's one of the toughest struggles. I can't say it's the toughest struggle a person can go through, because I know people go through crazy struggles and make it out the other end. But when you're off of it, it feels like you're drowning. Like it feels like you're no longer thinking logically and rationally about, this is what I need to do in order for my life to get better. You're just thinking like, I need air, I need air, I need air. And anything standing between you and air is standing between you and air,
Yeah. And eventually you find the drug again and you're
Yeah.
well.
And I've hurt the people I love a lot, and I feel horrible for some, not physically hurt them, but just the type of things where I don't think they can be really ever fully taken back, or repaired, even though I'd like to.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
37. You have kids?
No.
No kids. You've been in love before,
Yes.
I assume.
And actually, the most recent time I was in love was in my heroin addiction. Was in and out of it. I kept getting sober and relapsing, but she's a gorgeous, amazing girl, and she was smart and funny, and we got along great and had great chemistry, and but I would just turn into a kind of zombie, and at the same time I would start, just doing seedy things, spending all the money without telling her. I'd start stealing things, sneaking out in the middle of the night to go get what I needed. And she took me back a lot of times. And actually this last time, my biggest question on my mind is wondering whether I'd like to go back to her, but I don't know if it's morally right for me to do that. You know what I mean?
You'll hurt her.
Yeah,
By going back.
She's going through a lot, and I don't know whether it would be right of me to put her through even more, So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
If you had your life to live all over again, what would you have done differently?
I think I would just learn to be content wherever I happened to be in the world and make things work from there, because I've never been content. And a lot of people at meetings will say that they felt the same way. Like they just feel like there's just something eating at them all the time. And the first time they take that drink or the drug, that it takes off that feeling for the first time. You never knew how much it weighed until you had it taken off. And the last time I was sober, I was working on that, because things are very intense when you're newly sober again. It's like being a teenager and going right into high school again for the first time. Just everything is just loud and intense.
Right. How are you supporting yourself now?
Boosting.
Yeah. I've heard it so many times. You get into behaviors that I assume are not part of who you would be normally if you weren't on drugs.
Yeah, because that's not.
You're not a thief.
No. I take pride in being able to pull my own weight. In fact, this last time I was in treatment, I was saying that a lot to the people there. I'm like, I want to get to a point in my life where I can pull my own weight and feel like I have a reason to wake up in the morning, and feel like my life is worth something because I've invested something into it. Not that I'm just sitting in groups all day or whatever they have you doing there.
What's the emotional toll that this takes on you?
It takes a variety of them. I mean, you can look at it from the outside and say, here's all the tragedy that came from it, and here are all the things that could have been avoided. And I know there's that. And then every time you go back into it, there's like this whole new kind of sinking feeling that comes from like, why did I just do this again? Now everybody I know is going to know this. And at this point, I'm kind of like, I don't even really disappoint myself anymore. I'm sad that I disappoint the people that I love because they don't deserve it,
And fentanyl is such a difficult drug to break free from, right?
It really is. And you would think that and I always truly thought that once you're past the actual withdrawal period, you don't sleep for like 8 days. And I mean, you do not sleep for 8 days. And you're squirming around and you can't hold any food down and you're just in this dark depression.
Have you made it 8 days?
Oh yeah, I've made it through it. Mostly in jail though. But after that, still for whatever reason, every now and then there'll come a time when it's just like the thought enters your head You don't push it right out, and you just roll with it. And kind of once you flip that switch, you can't unflip it. For me, anyway. Like, I can't make the decision, okay, you know, maybe it's possible for me to do this and get away with it one more time. Like, once I say that, like, I'm gonna do it. There's no stopping me from doing it. And that's one of the hard parts I feel for me to get over, because it's ended badly multiple times because of just that. A random decision one day.
Yeah. Do you have friends now?
Yeah. Yeah.
People on the streets or actual like friends from before?
Both. And now I'm having a hard time. I haven't talked to my friends from treatment for a while. I was visiting one of my friends in the hospital for a while. She's back home now. Haven't seen her since I relapsed. One of my other friends, he's doing great, and I'm happy for him, but he doesn't know that I am where I am right now, and I'm afraid to say anything because it's like, these people have been good friends to me, and I don't want to even have ammunition to say, oh, well, now they're not good friends because they're not there for me when I need them. I don't even want to be able to say that, because I know I'll just let it trick me into just making another bad choice, you know?
Do you think there's a better chance of you getting clean and getting free from this, or staying deeper in it and potentially even dying?
The possibility of death has become a lot closer to me this last time than it has any other time.
You've OD'd before?
Oh yeah, and in the past 4 days I've probably OD'd 6 times.
Really?
Yeah, like almost died, like turned blue and everything.
Oh.
And that's never happened before. I always kind of had this thought that I would never die. I would just, you know, some convenient thing would always happen. I'd always make it through the other side, like I always have. Why shouldn't I, you know? But this last couple of times, it's only been by acts of God that I've actually lived through something as simple as doing a little bit of fentanyl. Taking one puff off a piece of foil, and it's particularly strong, and I just hit the ground head first, and that's it.
Yeah. And even going through that and having gratitude for like surviving that still isn't enough to get you to quit.
Well, on a larger sense it is, but I mean, kind of like a lot of people stay in abusive relationships because right now it's not bad enough to have to leave. It's kind of like that. Like on a larger scale, yeah, that's a great reason, but in the immediate here and now, it's not enough to pull me out of it and go through all the, you know, all the horrors I got to go through to get back out of it again. And I know that what I got coming is going to be difficult, almost no matter what. But I don't know. I don't know what to do. Make the best of it. I don't know how to handle this part. I never have. So I guess I'm just hoping for the best.
John, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
In my life? I think the most important lesson I've learned in my life is to do no harm. There are a million times when I've wished I could get revenge on somebody for screwing me over in some petty way, and the very few times that's actually happened, it's always ended up feeling horrible, and I've ended up feeling really bad about it. It didn't feel like a victory. And yeah, I don't want to hurt my family. I don't want to hurt my friends. And I'm like, if it takes me taking a kick every now and then, I'm cool with that. I just don't want to be somebody who goes out hurting people. I don't want to be the type of person who people see and they're like, oh yeah, he's a crazy, selfish asshole, you know?
All right, John. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I wish you lots of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.